If you could speak English exactly how you want it, what would that sound like? How could you achieve that? My name is Warren, and hopefully I'll help you answer those questions and guide you along the way. First, let me introduce myself though, not only to tell you about who I am as a person, but who I could become as your teacher. Originally, I'm from a small town in Arkansas. It's probably a place you've never heard of, but it's where I'm from, and I'll tell you a little bit about it as we get to know each other. I left home right after high school at 17. Ended up joining the uniformed service, the United States Air Force, and there I got to travel, experience other languages, and dialects of the American English. I'll be able to use that experience to help you. Along with that, I also joined the French Foreign Legion after the Air Force. That really was an exposure to language and culture, something else I'll be able to use to your advantage as an English teacher. After the French Foreign Legion, I decided to teach English. I went to Barcelona, Spain, and got my TEFL certification in the beginning of 2012. Right after, I returned to France, where I taught English for about 3.5, 4 years. I taught English for a while, and then I started a business. It was a little bit of a side venture, and I did that for the remaining 2 or 3 years that I was in France. Not long after, I went home, visited family, reconnected with my roots, and then ended up finding myself in Mexico City. That's where I am now. This is where we're sitting at now. These are 3 of my puppies, of 4. I'll introduce you to them now. This is Bailey, Byron, and Patas. We also have a little Chihuahua, and her name is Pisca. I'll introduce you to her later, as well as my wife, Idis. But I would say my truest passion is words. I'm a novelist. I've written 2 novels. I've written many blog articles, and I've also written award-winning short stories. Being able to tell a story. And a lot of that has to do with language and what language does for us. Ever since I started teaching in 2012, I've taught everything from a range of children in summer camps to CEOs in private offices. My teaching style is very student-driven. It's usually informal and conversational. I do this because, for me, language is about communication. I believe teaching is equal parts teacher and taught. Having said that, the learning process is really about you, and I want you to feel that it's about you. As such, I want you to be able to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about in the class. As we go along, we'll deal with that gritty grammar, and we'll deal with those common learning plateaus that have to do with the present perfect, the conditionals, and modal verbs. One of my favorite lessons is The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. Not only do we learn about different verbs and how to use them, such as the difference between to have and to be, but we'll also get to have some fun with some philosophical ideas, such as the arranged marriage or living a double life. So we have the plays of Oscar Wilde, which is a little more artistic, but for those with more of a business mind, we can follow the Market Leader series. I have a couple of those books, and I'd be happy to follow those as strictly or as loosely as you feel comfortable with. Beyond that, I also usually like to do a special holiday lesson. Whenever it's Christmas time, we'll talk about the history of Christmas. Whether you consider yourself a more casual or formal learner, whether you consider yourself a more traditional or modern student, I'd be happy to have a first 30-minute lesson with you, just to see what your history of learning English is, what your interests are, and what your goals are, just to make sure that I am the right teacher for you, but also to help me build a plan to help you arrive at your goal. After that, we'll get to work. And don't be afraid to tell me if you want to change directions with your lessons. I don't mind adjusting as we go along, evolving, growing, however you want to see it. The point is, it's about you and whatever your objectives are, and I'm just here to help you achieve them. So with that in mind, I look forward to meeting you soon and sharing the learning experience with you.